So we can get started. Being 6:30, and would you do the roll call, please?
I will. Don Span.
Excused.
Excuse. Carrie Bickford. Present. Ronald Bisson.
Present.
Larry Glenn.
Present.
Tim Dunham.
Present.
Scott Whitby has been excused.
Excused.
And Andrew Munsey.
Present.
Three are here.
Okay, first thing we have is the approval of the minutes, October 17. Has everybody had a chance to read those? And do we have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from October 17th.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous. So we do have a number of public hearings tonight. If anybody's aware of our old agenda, item E is off the agenda. The first item that we have is the final amended site plan conditional use permit for craft self-storage. Has submitted a proposed expansion to add 4 new self-storage buildings at Center Park Drive, tax map R05, lot 56-3. And you may go ahead.
Sure. Just and a screen here. Okay, Joe Martin, Sightlines here on behalf of the applicant. So brief rundown of the project team for the project. Craft Self Storage is the applicant. Sightlines is the engineer and surveyor of record for the project. We worked with Land Design Solutions for some assistance on the landscape architecture along the frontage of the project. And then we had Mark Hampton Associates do the wetland delineation for the project. A rundown of the development review process. Planning board, we've been here before sketch, we're not moving forward for final. We also, because of the size of the project, we needed to amend the stormwater management law permit. That's a DP permit, but it's administered through the town process. And then we had to get a NRPA tier 1 wetland alteration permit for the amount of wetland impacts we're having on the project. We have submitted that. We've got some comments back from it, but we're still waiting on the final approval of that. We are also getting a Army Corps permit, a U.S. Army Corps permit for the wetland impacts as well. So I think everyone here knows where it is, but it's located at 7 Center Park Road in Topsham, and the commercial quarter 196 zoning district. It's currently developed as a self-storage facility, and we're just proposing to add an additional 4 self-storage buildings with some additional access roads to access the project. You'll see here in a couple slides, the design has changed a little bit from the sketch. I'll get into that further. We'll get there. Utilities, there's no water and sewer serving the new buildings, and the underground electric will just be extended from the existing buildings to the buildings. There we go. Just an aerial of the project location. We got 295 kind of going east to west, and then Route 196 going kind of south to north. And the project site is located up on 196, just on the right. And just a zoomed in version of that. You can see the existing self-storage project there just below the text that says site, and then you've got some other developed commercial properties to the east of the project. Okay, so this is the reconfigured design. The biggest change, 2 biggest changes, is the amount of buildings has been decreased. And we had a secondary entrance that was onto Center Park Road that was eliminated. Both these were done to reduce the wetland impacts to get below the 15,000 square foot threshold for DEP, so it could stay within a tier 1 wetland permit. Again, this is the same plan with just the aerial underneath it. So you can see there is some wooded area to the west of the areas that are being developed. And for the most part, the area that's being developed is kind of a scrub brush. You know, there's not a lot of trees out there, mostly just scrubby stuff. And the areas that kind of look hatched in there, those are the wetlands that kind of transect the parcel between the existing development and the proposed wetlands. And this is the grading and drainage plan. Again, kind of the darker hatched areas you see there, those are the wetland, the wetlands that are being impacted. The impervious area from the paved roads and from the new buildings, all that will be conveyed to a new gravel wetland, which is somewhat a new stormwater treatment method. It's pretty much an area that is pretty much a wetland area, but you kind of design, you construct the wetland, and the stormwater will flow into that, kind of flow through some treatment media, and then discharge out towards the existing wetland areas. So that design is currently being reviewed by the town peer reviewer. We have gotten comments. We responded to those comments yesterday, but you have obviously had that time to review that. But for the most part, the comments have been addressed, and we're just waiting for the final sign off. And this is a revised landscape plan for the frontage. You'll see a number of trees and evergreens proposed along the frontage. This does not meet the current standard of the ordinance, so we are requesting a waiver. I think, I don't have the exact number, but I think there's additional like 12 or 15 trees that would be needed to meet the ordinance standards, and that would just kind of overwhelm that area. So we thought we provided a landscape plan that supplements the project, partially screens it, but still allows for views to be, you know, the project be seen from 196. With that, I can answer any questions the board has on the project.
Start with you, Carrie. Do you have any questions? Yeah, no. Andy?
Now,
Alan? Okay. So in the area that, I mean, I know there's, they said scrub brush.
Yeah.
Out there where the new units were going, is it gonna be impacting into any of the tree line, or is it just pretty much all into the scrub brush area?
Yeah, all in scrub brush. There's a little bit area where the gravel wetland and where the discharge point, the gravel where the culvert's gonna outlet. That there will be a little bit of clearing in the woods area, but pretty much, I mean, just enough, you know, 6, 8 feet wide enough to bring a culvert out and dump it into the existing wetland area.
Okay, I presume we need to do the conditional use permit first. Yeah. Trying to make sure that we're in
That's what
agreement
we did
there.
last time, so I'm gonna go off.
Okay, but we can cover the, remedial, landscaping at the same time as we do the whole
Yes.
process.
Yeah, I think that was what we agreed on earlier in the summer. So that's part of the site plan as it stands right now. It's
Oh,
noted
okay.
what happened, but the conditional use is just everything that's in there, and if it meets those, and there's a
Right.
recommended pattern motion, and then with the site plan, I think you take that into the landscape.
The landscape, yeah.
That would be my recommendation.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or discussion with regard to the conditional use?
No, I have one question. So photo 18, that's. I don't know if you get to that. Is that pretty much what we're looking at as far as where it's gonna go? It looks scrubby and there's a dry paved area and then all the units are to the left.
Yeah, it's a little bit more,
You can see
if
it,
you're looking at the photo more to the right, because
that it would go to the right, but
Yes.
that's pretty much a good
Yeah.
picture to go
good
by.
representation of what it is.
Yeah.
It's just kind of 8 to 10 foot tall stone brush.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that I move craft self-storage conditional use permit is in compliance with chapter 225, section 67, conditional use standards, and is approved with the recommended findings identified in the staff memo from town planner Sky Salati dated October 26, 2023, and the application materials and plans provided by the applicant and reviewed by the board.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Unanimous. Then we move on to the rest of it. And anything further from the applicant? I should have asked, we don't have anybody online.
Are we opening the public hearing? I think there might be one person.
Oh, yeah, we should have from the public hearing. I forgot to do that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I see that there's one person online. I'm going to allow you to talk if you'd like to comment on this, and if you don't, you can just stay silent and we'll move on. I don't think they want to comment.
Okay. Then we'll close the public hearing.
Okay.
If I didn't open one before, I opened one.
You're so good.
Okay,
Like motion.
I'd like a motion, please.
I move that the planning board concurs with the staff's conclusion that the final site plan, application materials have been submitted and that the application is complete, such as the board may proceed with substantive review of the application and identification of any further information required from the applicant.
Second.
Do we have any further questions from? Oh, yeah.
There is nothing.
Do we have any discussion on the motion? All in favor of that? Unanimous? Yeah. And with nothing further from the applicant, we have another motion.
I have a question. I'm trying to, I saw on the screen the landscape plan, proposed landscape plan. I'd like to look at that in more detail, but I can't find it in the materials that we have. Good. This one here. Yeah, there's just a site plan. It shouldn't have the landscaping on it. I was curious to see what that looks like.
Are you interested in the species of trees or anything?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
So there, along the front there is, maples. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 maples. Some silver lindens. Crab apples, and there's even red cedars. Provide a little bit of screening there. Total there is 31 trees.
That's along the front.
Yeah.
Okay. The other, one that area, the other trees that are along Center Park Drive, they're all staying.
Yes.
Here's the landscape.
Oh, great. Yeah, I looked at the paper copy.
My other second.
Oh.
One other thing too is that, that split rail fence along the front would be extended along front all the way, at least the development.
So what does a split rail fence look like? I mean, I don't have a visual.
It's the ones like you see in a, like, kind of like a horse paddock, they have a post. And then they just have like
You have two
there are
rails.
two rails that go across. It's very simple.
Okay.
And they have like a little hole that you stick them in. You can move them. I used to have one up front.
Okay.
They're usually just weathered wood.
Yeah. Okay. Chairman, would you like a motion?
Close.
I'm all set with this plan from planning.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I move that the final site plan review application for the craft self-storage tax map R5 lot 56-3 meets the applicable standards in the site plan review ordinance, chapter 175, and the zoning ordinance, chapter 225, including specific performance standards for the CC 196 zone, as approved with the staff recommended conditions and findings identified in the staff memo dated October 26, 23.
Did you guys do suggested motion?
Second.
3.
Here's the suggestion 3.
We need to do two because it has the waivers.
Right. We're gonna table your motion for the moment because we need.
There's two options for the suggested pattern motion, and that's up to the board.
Right, I was curious about the landscaping because that's the one difference between the two suggested motions of whether to approve or deny that.
And the one that's being approved or denied is the, cataloging the trees. So I can find this.
Yeah, first suggestion motion.
13, right?
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I see. I skipped over that.
Yeah.
The
Yes, A2,
inventory,
yes.
Is the inventory.
right?
Yes, and due to the previous violation of removing trees, the town planner advised that the 175-10A2 is not approved, but that is your decision of the board, so there's a second motion if you would like to approve that waiver.
Approval of the waiver would mean we are accepting that landscape plan that they've presented.
So if you approve, there's two additional landscaping standards.
Yeah.
Waivers, and the first one is for an inventory of all trees on the lot, which is the one that I, as the town planner, recommended was not approved since there was a previous issue of cutting trees. The second one is for the landscape plan as is, with the lesser amount of plantings, and I did recommend that that one be approved.
Okay,
Okay, so,
So you're recommending 13 out? Item 13 out?
I apologize for this. I'm recommending that, the additional landscaping standards waivers for, 175-10A2, which is the applicant is requesting waiver for cataloging trees, is not approved, which I believe is the first pattern motion in the memo. And that would mean that, condition number 13 is included. If you go with the second pattern motion, condition number 13,
Is
is removed because the waiver covers that.
so I would make the motion then, for the second option of motion number 2. I move the requested waivers for 175-9 additional lighting standards, 175-10E. 4B additional landscaping standards, 175-11B, 7 commercial architectural design standards, and 175-10A2 additional landscaping standards are approved in accordance with the staff memo dated October 26, 2023 for 175-9G2 and 225-27E 6C, and not in accordance for 175-10A 7 condition number 13 shall be removed as the waiver for 175-10A to fulfills compliance.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Now you're gonna vote on
Now,
Tim's first.
then we're gonna bring
Yeah, so
Tim's
that table-
first, back off the table.
And Carrie had seconded that. So
And Carrie second.
Yeah.
And Sky. Since I'm trying to zip through and find out. Do we have the standard conditions in here for the town peer review approval?
You mean that all comments be addressed, technical comments?
Yes,
Yes, that's in there.
okay,
And the specific conditions related to the water management are also in there.
okay,
Yeah, so that's what all the, like, the ending ones are from the peer review engineer related to stormwater, so.
okay. Because Joe said he was still looking for some further approval from the peer review.
And he was fine with those being condition of approval, so peer review engineer is good with it as is.
Okay, good. Any further questions, discussion on Tim's motion? All in favor, say. Opposed? That's unanimous.
there you go.
You, appreciate it. All right, have a
Have a
good
good
evening.
night, Dan.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dale.
Do we have you all night?
Yes, you do.
I saw something in the spring. Oh, man,
I think it's just something to do.
it's about Julie or something.
Oh, the name is truly everything that you use here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So next item on the agenda is final subdivision amendment. Stonewall Investments LLC has submitted an amendment to move a stormwater buffer at the Eagle River subdivision of Raspberry Lane, tax map R1, lot 19, and tax map R05, lot 50. And we will hear from the applicant.
So Joe Martin with Sightlines here on behalf of the applicant. Really a small change, lot 10 on. Here's the one all the way over here, the north. There was, part of the original approvals, there's a stormwater buffer at the rear of the project. Once they kind of cleared the site and they put there's a stormwater pond that's right in the front of it, they realized it's pretty tight to put a building in there and still have somewhat of a backyard. So they want to push that stormwater buffer back partially onto the land that's being retained by the owner. We worked through some grading design with the peer review engineer to make sure that the stormwater runoff from the building and lawn areas would get to that buffer. And that's kind of the extent of the change.
Open public hearing on that.
There's someone online, I don't know if they're here for this, I'm going to allow you to talk, if you'd like to speak on this one, you can, if not, you can stay silent and we'll move on. Don't think they want to.
Then we will close the public hearing on that, and we will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that the planning board concurs with the staff's conclusion that the Eagle River Phase 2 amendment application materials have been submitted and the applicant's application is complete, such that the board may proceed with substantive review of the application and identification of any further information required from the applicant.
Second,
All in favor of that motion? Unanimous? Do we have any further information from the applicant, or is the applicant good? Good. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna give this one to you
I don't know
too.
why I didn't print it out.
I printed all of them, so we're good.
Thank
Okay. Any discussion or questions from members of the board? We'll entertain another motion. Do you want to, Tim?
All right, I so move that the final subdivision review application for the Eagle River subdivision amendment, map R1, lot 19 and tax map R5, lot 50 meets the applicable standards in the subdivision review ordinance, chapter 191, and is approved with the staff recommended conditions and findings identified in the staff memo dated October 26, 2023.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? That's unanimous also. Feelers. And if you're ready, Joe, we'll move on to, okay. Move on to the third item on our agenda, which is final subdivision amendment and site plan amendment. Housing Associates of Topsham has submitted an amendment to the Fairview Common subdivision plan to shift building footprints, change grading, and add underground propane tanks at 25 Hackensack Road, tax map U23, lot 75. We'll hear from the applicant.
Joe Martin with Sightlines, here on behalf of the applicant. The changes to the site plan primarily are associated with the review process we went through with Maine State Housing. There were also some changes to the building footprints. The biggest changes on building 1 got about 14 feet longer, and the basement space was removed, and they just added that to the kind of the back corner of the building. The other buildings had some minor changes to the footprints, but for the most part, it stayed the same. With that, the walkways from the building to the sidewalk changed, mostly for ADA purposes. And then we added the location of the underground propane tanks. We added an additional ADA parking space. The sewer line was revised to address some of the comments from the sewer district. And then recently, we added an additional fire hydrant at the entrance from Hackensack Road to address some fire department concerns. So I think that covers the majority of the changes, those at least the big ones.
What was the situation with the basement and then moving to the end of the building?
So there's high groundwater there, and they were concerned about waterproofing and having to put in a sump pump. And they said, we got plenty of room around the building. Why don't we just get rid of the basement and just tack it on, make the building a bit bigger? So that's what we're gonna do.
So that was above grade,
Yeah.
above the water table.
Yeah.
Oh. Where is that? I'm just curious.
Where?
Highland Green? No,
No,
This is
Hackensack Road is where? Come on, guys.
Crossing.
Oh, okay, thank you. I recognize the roads, I just,
so on the north side of the CMP lines.
okay, now, all right, there we go.
Technically part of the house, that's always.
There are two areas we need to.
So there's a subdivision amendment,
Yep.
that's due to the building footprints being changed, and that's really the only consideration to the subdivision amendment. So that would be all I would say discuss for the subdivision amendment, the site plan amendment, is the other aspects of the subdivision amendment
Right.
is the building footprints.
Is the building footprint.
Yeah, and you do need to do both, so I
Yep.
apologize about that.
And we don't need to do one before the other.
I would maybe do subdivision first.
Yeah, it's some writers coming in, but.
I don't think, I don't know if the law requires you to, that's just my recommendation.
Okay, then we'll open up a public hearing.
I'm going to do the same thing for the person on Zoom. If you'd like to talk, you're welcome to. If not, just stay silent. All right,
And we'll close the public hearing. And, You have the right one.
I hope so. I move that the planning board concurs with staff's conclusion that the Fairview Commons application materials have been submitted and that the application is complete, such as the board may proceed with a substantive review of the application and identification of any further information required from the application or applicant.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Anything further, Joe?
Nothing further.
Then
Okay.
entertaining another motion.
Sure. I move that the final site plan review application, sorry,
Oh, we're doing subdivision one first.
oh, sorry,
Oh, that's okay.
I don't have it in front of me.
You
Somebody
can
else
just
grab that one.
substitute final subdivision review.
Somebody else can make motions too.
I
You seem to be happy doing it.
Yeah,
too,
okay.
so.
I'm happy doing it, that's fine. I move that the final subdivision review application for the Fairview Commons map U 23 lot 75 meets the applicable standards in the subdivision review ordinance, chapter 191, and is approved with the staff recommended conditions and findings identified in the staff memo dated October 26, 2023.
Second.
Hang on a second, you said. 191, is it 175?
We're doing subdivision. You're looking at the site plan
Oh,
amendment.
You're looking at the other one.
We'll
Okay.
do that next.
We're getting there.
That's why I messed up, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, signify by saying, or raising your hand. Opposed, unanimous. Okay, then we'll move on to the other part of this, for the development overlay, transfer overlay of et cetera. Then I move that the planning board concurs with staff's conclusion that the Fairview Commons application materials have been submitted and the application is complete, such that the board may proceed with substantive review of the application and identification of any further information required from the applicant.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Anything further? From anyone? I was trying to decide if we should open the public
No,
hearing.
no,
We don't need,
for this one.
we don't need to.
Yeah.
No. Then we have, a further motion. I move the final site plan review application for Fairview Commons tax map U 23 lot 75 meets the applicable standards in the site plan review ordinance, chapter 175, and the zoning ordinance, chapter 225, and is approved with staff recommended conditions and findings identified in the staff memo dated October 26, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. That's why I can do the motion. I go all the time, but. Yeah. We just can't get rid of him, can we?
Business must be good.
Okay, moving on to item F on our agenda. Which is FCM LLC has submitted a sketch plan to construct a self-storage facility consisting of 6 buildings in the industrial zone at 10 Recycle Drive, tax map R02, lot 74.
All right,
We'll hear from the
Marty,
applicant.
Sidelines on behalf of the applicant. So a brief rundown of the project team. The applicant is FCM LLC, who's the landowner. Sightlines is the engineer and surveyor of record, and then Jones Associates delineate the wetlands on the property. This one, of course, the town has to go through sketch and final, and then because of the lot where this is being developed was previously part of a site law project, so we need an amendment to that, and that will be administered through the town review process. The project is located within the industrial zoning district. It's part of the Recycle Drive planned commercial development. And the lot to be developed is approximately 10.2 acres and is currently undeveloped. The project will include 6 new self-storage buildings. These are a little bit different than the previous self-storage project. These will be more commercial-oriented storage spaces, but there will also be self-storage aspect to that as well. All the buildings will be 1 story, and then total is approximately 49,000 square feet of building footprint. There is an existing curb cut from Recycle Drive that was put in when Recycle Drive was built, and so the project will use that. There is also a second curb cut, but that will not be utilized for this project. And then again, sewer and water are not necessary for this, so just electrical will be extended from Recycle Drive. Gotcha. Just an aerial of the project. They have Lewiston Road kind of running south to north, and then Recycle Drive comes off the left-hand side, and the site is located directly off that. Is in this version, maybe. There we go. So that's kind of the zoomed in version of Recycle Drive, kind of bends around the existing commercial development there. Fairly recently, another lot on Recycle Drive was recently approved for a site plan approval for different projects. So Recycle Drive will look a lot different. I'm not sure. So this is the latest amendment to the planned commercial development. The lot highlighted in red, that's the entirety of the lot 2, which is being developed for the self-storage. You see that Recycle Drive has an easement through this property. It's kind of a funky configuration.
Where coastal little pad is? I'm trying to place where that is. Sorry.
Grimmels, is it?
Yeah, that,
Yeah. Recycle Drive goes down to the Grimmel
Yeah.
metal.
Sorry. So it's lot 74, is that right? Am I R2, lot 74?
That's what I got.
And that looks like coastal metal.
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of, it's, I think on the tax map it's shown as 1 lot, I think.
Yes, the tax map needs to be updated a little bit.
Yeah, so it just wasn't revised on the tax.
But that's right where coastal pad is? Is that right there? Okay. Oh, and then to the right of it where it would go off to Grimmels? Is that-
Yes.
Okay, I got you now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are there any homes on that road?
No.
I don't think so.
So this is the overall site plan. So you see again, 6 buildings, 1 entrance from Recycle Drive, and then there's just access drives that kind of go around the buildings to provide access to all the front of the buildings. And again, these are kind of more for commercial storage space, so the access drives are a little bit wider to allow for commercial vehicles to come in. This is just a zoomed in view of it. When Recycle Drive was put in, when the initial site law permit was approved, there was a fairly large wet pond that's constructed down at the end of Recycle Drive. And that was designed to account for all the impervious area from this lot and all the adjacent lots on Recycle Drive. So from a grade perspective, all of this pavement and roofs will just be graded towards Recycle Drive. There's some swales on either side of that, and that'll just drain down to that wet pond. Of course, that'll be more of the final application package, but just to let you know, the stormwater is kind of all taken care of at this point. And this is a site plan with the aerial underneath. You'll see the area that's going to be developed for the storage buildings. There's a little bit of trees that need to be removed. For the most part, it's just kind of an existing kind of grassy area right now. This was initially, as part of the original, site law, this was supposed to be a, parking area for, tractor trailers and, but it was never constructed, so.
Where's this in relation to the other development that, like you mentioned that we approved not too long ago?
So if you look at that plan, it's on the other side of Recycle Drive, the kind of the grassy area over there, that's where that's the other.
That's what the other one.
Yeah.
The top there.
Yeah.
Where those lines are.
Is that the salt shed? No, different place?
I don't know.
No, the salt shed was, yes,
Down.
off of 196.
Further down.
Further down, yeah, closer to town.
It's just industrial commercial space.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
right, the
that's-
other one's,
I don't know what the exact use is, but it's just industrial.
it's supposed to be in commercial, industrial,
Yeah.
storage type
Yeah,
of space,
something like that.
if I remember right.
Was that a while ago?
We signed the plans this spring. 57 Recycle Drive.
Yeah.
It's not been here. What?
I think it got approved before that, but
Yeah, it did get approved.
And that kind of hashed area you see in this plan, that's where the, to the left of the screen there, that's where the wet pond was constructed.
Yeah.
Would that answer any questions?
And this is, I mean, had it on one of the other, but this is kind of like right behind coastal middle. It's definitely picturing this right.
Yeah.
So this area, that building is coastal middle, yeah.
So from Lewiston Road, you're not gonna see
I
anything,
don't see it.
Right,
you know, it's all kind of screened. from
it
that
goes
distance.
downhill, yeah.
Storage business must be moving. They're everywhere.
Storage and housing.
Yeah.
People gotta keep their crap somewhere.
Yeah,
They're making room for ADUs, they're getting their junk out, storing it.
Yeah, the house
making
is getting
ADUs.
smaller.
That's it.
Pretty soon you're gonna have people living in them.
Yeah,
Like little
I've
she
heard of that,
sheds,
I've heard of
little she shed community.
we're not approving it for that.
Any questions?
I'm curious, besides the wider access drive, what about the buildings make them more suited for commercial use?
Well, one thing is a lot of times you do the self-storage, you'll have like a 30-foot wide building, you'll have doors on both sides. The units themselves aren't very deep, they're 10, 15 feet deep. These ones are all gonna be accessed from the front, and they're all gonna be deeper, so all the storage space are gonna be 20 to 30 feet deep, to allow for larger, storage spaces. And I don't know, I haven't really seen anything on the design of the building themselves. I don't know if they're gonna be a little bit taller than the typical self-storage buildings, but we'll have that when we get back for the final.
Is recycled drive gated?
Yes.
It is, that
At
gate's
times?
gonna have to be moved. It's not only for this project, but for
For the other one?
Yeah.
Right, because the gate's gonna have to be further
so
down.
they'll probably move it closer to the railroad tracks so they control traffic not going that way, but
Yeah.
it will have to be adjusted.
Questions, comments?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Think we're all set for the moment on the sketch plan.
Thank you.
I assume you probably have about 10 more things you want to present to us. Don't see it on the agenda, but you're here.
We cut them off, we cut them off.
I think four is a record. I think.
I think so too.
I've had three before.
Then we don't have anything else. I'll entertain a motion to go through it.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion?
No.
All in favor?